Today we are going to see something I didn't mention last time, and I try to speak slowly because I hope you can understand more. And if you have any question, just leave the comment down below. Thank you. And today I delete everything in the 3D space. I'll try to tell you something like didn't mention about this thing last time. If you didn't remember the shortcuts, like as a beginner, that's okay. You can use them. Remember Shift A, then you can add mesh to the 3D space. I can add some cube here. And if you press the middle mouse, you have the same effect here. And if you want to zoom in, zoom out, you can press left mouse and scrolling up or scrolling down. And you can zoom in, zoom out. Or you can move your view by left click on this hand icon. Or can Shift A, add a camera. I think if you didn't delete or change the default setting in Blender, then you will have camera as default. Okay, so GZ, if you press this camera icon, you will go into the view of the camera. And if you want to move this view, you can look at the top of your keyboard on the left side. Press Shift and wave symbol. Wave symbol. I hope you understand. Then you can move the view, and as a game player, you can understand WS, which means you are moving upward or downwards. So now I press S, I am moving downward. And if I press W, I can moving forward. And press A, moving on the left. D, moving to the right. Alright, I like this view. Alright. And now I think it's fine. You can see everything on the outliner here. And this one is, you can see here. If you press again, you will go back to the default setting, perspective. What's the difference between perspective and orthographic? Well, at first, I can tell you, you should press the shortcut on the right side of your keyboard. Press 5, then it will change automatically. And as you see, if we use perspective mode, then the object, or you can say mesh, I didn't see any difference. It will become more natural. It's just the effect as we see in the reality. But if you want to design something, you want to see conveniently. So go back to orthographic mode. Then you will see it's not natural, but it gives you more space. It's easier to see the front. It's just the subtle difference. So it's up to you. But remember, it's not natural. It's tricked. It's crooked. I should say crooked. Yeah. Okay, so go back to perspective. And now, if you think you didn't need anything here, press T to hide the sidebar. And this one, how do we hide them? You can press here, a little arrow here, and on the bottom navigate, Yes, now they are disappearing. And if you want to do some setting on the 3D space, for example, you didn't want to see any mesh, I don't know why, then you close the eye of here, it will disappear. As a beginner, I don't think we should know more things than this. Just a guide. Alright, and here, if you didn't want to see any floor lights here, you can unable this floor, but I will keep it enabled. And if you want to see some wireframe, you think, oh, I can see things very clearly, then you can enable the wireframe. And other things we can mention later. And how about this one? I guess you didn't enable them. You didn't click this checkbox. So if you enable this one, alright, so if we go to here, and you should click shadow and cavity. What's the difference? First, if we enable this shadow, you will find it gives you a stronger effect. And another cavity, you can see, if we enable wireframe, you will see the edge is brighter. It makes you see things clearer, right? So we can enable those things. Yeah. And next, we should go to Edit and Preference. I want to show you something. At first, interface, I don't think we should change anything here. But if you want to change your language, yeah, you can change. But as we know, Blender now is popular as English version. And if you want to look more tutorials, then you should get used to English. And next one, themes. You can change the themes of Blender, like Blender white, light, gray, stylish, Maya, ocean style. Anything you can play around. But I'm okay with Blender dark. The only thing I want to mention in this block is 3D viewport. 3D viewports is the 3D space we see. And click this little arrow. You can change any color if you want, but as a beginner, I think we should just get used to the whole interface at first. The only thing you may want to change is the vertex size. You can change this as a bigger vertex. Yeah, it's up to you. And viewports, we don't need to change anything, but make sure you have this one, viewports and anti-aliasing as samples. So what does it mean? It means if you, for example, if you in the future you want to, we can mention first thing here, object mode. You can press tab or just click this arrow. Or we should click the mesh at first. Click this arrow. Go to edit mode. Or you can press tab. Then you will change between these two modes. And if we go to edit mode, and maybe we can press Ctrl Z. Now Ctrl Z and also Shift Z. And now we are going to the X-ray mode. And if you didn't choose Add Samples, this edge or maybe more bulk. For example, if you used to painting in Photoshop, and we know bitmap images BS the vector image, then you will see the edge will be more vague. Anyway, I hope you use as samples. That's better quality. And you can click Edit and go to Preference, or you can press F4 as a shortcut. Go to Preference, and now light we don't need to change. Editing is fine. Animation we don't need to change. Add-ons, we will go back here very often. And at first, I want to introduce 2 add-ons. Oh, they are defaults in Blender, don't worry. Okay, so as we know, Blender has many purchased add-ons, and they are very useful. But as a beginner, maybe we should just know the functions at first. So the first one I want to mention is Bool tool. You should check this checkbox, and also click this arrow and go to Details, Preference, and enable this checkbox as well. Display as wireframe. Should have this. What does that mean? Go back to Object mode and Ctrl+Z again. Go back to Solid mode. And now press G, X, Shift A, add a mesh, UV sphere, press G, and now we put them together. And I want to have a spherical hole on the cube. How should I do? As we enable the add-on, Bool tool. And now we should click this one and click the cube as well. As we see, they have different colors, the outlines. So the brighter one means it is activated. What does that mean? Which means the sphere will have a hole on the cube. So if we press, so make sure the cube has the brighter light outliner. And now press Ctrl and minus. Minus on the keyboard on the right side. And now we see the sphere become as the wireframe, and we make a hole on the cube. So if we close the eye here, you can see it's so much easier. So we can think we should always understand this way, because in Blender, as we start learning, we should start from modeling. And in modeling, we can roughly say they have a way is hard surface modeling, which means, for example, the laptop, the sci-fi things, car, the building, they are all square, they are very geometrical, they are not like trees, plants, landscape, human in the real world. So 2 things, hard surface modeling or organic modeling. At first, as a beginner, we should learn how to hard surface modeling, and which helps us understand Blender at first. And very much, we can learn more from modeling. So we should practice a lot and a lot. From the next episode, we are going to beginner to the post-beginner. So we will go to the next step. We will practice a lot. So, okay. I hope you understand. And if we open the eye again and click this sphere, we can move around. Oh, as we see, if we have not designed, we haven't finished the design yet, then we can still move the hole. Isn't it convenient? Right, it's nice. Yeah, big. And now go back to Preference. Another one is Loop tool. You can just type and enable this checkbox. And what is Loop tools? Now we click this cube and go to Edit mode. And as we know, we can see 3 icons here. You can press 1, 2, 3 on the left side of the keyboard on the top, not the right side one. Okay, 1 means vertex mode, so you can edit the vertices here. And 2 is edge. You can edit edges. 3 is face. Edit faces. And what should we do now? We can press A and choose all the faces. And right-click on the cube. And not yet, not this one, but subdivide. Oh, now we have many faces on each face. And what do we want to do? With the loop tools, you can choose some face. And right-click again. This time go to loop tools and choose circle. Oh, so it changed the face into other shapes that loop tools. Another thing you can play is to again, and we can right click again, choose bridge, and now we have a hole on the cube. Tab, loop tool. Okay, go back to object mode and go back to preference, input. If you would like to sculpt, then you can enable this Newlet 3-button mouse, which means when you hover, it means Alt can be replaced as the function of middle mouse. It's just very convenient, but since I have mouse and I didn't sculpt now, I don't sculpt now. So, but in the case if you didn't have middle mouse or your laptop didn't have the numpad on the right side for some reason, then you should enable this checkbox. Okay, next one, navigation. Navigation, we don't need to change anything. Just mention, we just play the camera by pressing Shift and then wave symbol, and it's a mode of working, just like this. Okay, next one, Keymap. If you want to change your selection, usually by default, we use left click. But if you really want the right click, you can change here. Another one, if you press space bar by accident, you should find the timeline starts playing here. But I don't want it, so I will change this one as search. And another one is tools. Tools is the thing here. It will show up as a circle if we choose this one. But I will just choose search. You can play around. Another one is, I think it's fine here. And system, if your graphic card is RTX and the NVIDIA, then it will show up here. And in this case, I will just enable my graphic card. And optics is just a new experimental mode, but it's nice. And if you have AMD graphics card, then it will show here. And the only thing you should notice here is the undo steps. By default, you will have 32 steps, but I think you should choose this one to the maximum steps, 56, sorry. So go ahead. And save and load, don't need to change anything. File path, some graphic designers or some people want to design fonts here, so they need various fonts. So you can change your file path here. Or by default, the render result will save your thing in these files. You can change manually. And the last thing I want to mention here is this icon. By default, Blender will auto-save your preference. So that's why I just enable the checkbox here, and I can show you around everything without save anything because it's auto-saving. But as many people, I will just click Save Preference again, just in case. Yeah, and now go back to the 3D space. And the last thing I want to show you is here, the icons here. So press 0. If you, oh, wow. Okay, sorry. Press 0 again. If you enable something here, for example, selection, and you want to change option here, then we can see the settings here by this thing, or the thing we just see, preference. This one, if you enable tools by default, and if you press space, you'll see them. But I don't think it's useful. So I'll just go back to search. Okay. And the next thing, render setting. As we know, Blender has 3 render engines. This one, EVE, is for gaming. And also, it's very good because it has good quality. So many architecture designers, they will use this mode because if you use another one, Cycles is the best, but it uses many memory of your graphics card. So your computer or your laptop will start yelling. You are running a huge files. So if you want to save your time, then you can choose EVE to render your image. I will show some examples in this video later. Another one is Workbench. What's the difference? It's perfect, and EVE is better, and Cycles is the best shadering. That I to say. And also, you should change this to GPU because if you didn't have graphics card, then you can choose CPU. But I will just choose GPU. EVE. And now we don't need to see many things here. But if you want to change the background, you want to have transparent background, then you can enable this one. Enable means transparent. Another thing is you can change your press N, have it, and this sidebar will show up. And you can change your focal length here. What does that mean? If now press 0 and want to have then if we type in the less number, then our thing in the view will be smaller. But if we go back and type in 200 example, then it will be bigger. I mean the mesh in the view. It's just the distance in the. You can imagine this camera is your eye, and is it closer or is it in a long distance? It's like this. But by default, I will just use 50. And next thing I want to say is, if sometimes you are close to the mesh, but by accidentally you see inside the mesh. That's because by default this one is very large, so we should change this one to 2.0. You just make it smaller, then you can see the subtle details on the surface. Yeah, just change it. Okay. And next thing I want to mention is the scale. So if you now change the scale, rotate it, move it, sometimes you will see a difference here. They are not applied, which means Blender sometimes will be confused because you have two numbers here. I know, but if you have any transformation, then when you finish, you should press Ctrl and A to apply your transforms. Yeah, I think I will just tell you shortcuts here. Now, if we press Alt-G, Alt-R, Alt-S, it didn't have any change anymore because it's the final result after applying it. Yeah. All right. And now, to mention next thing, sometimes you want to change your camera view. So press Shift and the wave sample again. You want to make this square become this one. You want to change the size? It's okay. Or you don't like it anymore. Just reset to default value. So up to you. Right. And sometimes you want to change the camera setting by pressing the camera, and you can change something here. But by now, I don't want to change anything. Another thing I want to mention is this one. Yeah. Oh, right. And because we have some boolean, so it will show up thing. We just use difference. And what if choose union? It will become something like this, or intersect, which means the mesh will only show up in this circle. We can play around in future. For now, we just understand this one. It's easier. Alright, so I will put this here. And now we should do something. Think maybe I should show you some icons here. So I will summon or add Monkey-Suazanne again. Hello, Suazanne. And another thing, I want to add a plan and make it bigger, higher. What do I want to do? Maybe to. Alright, so now we go back to the 3D space, and now we should understand. And again, yeah, go back to the physics property. This one, choose close. This one, monkey, choose collision. Now we can press play. Done. Congrats! You finished the first animation, and also you play some modifier here, and you understand some physics here. Congrats. Alright, next one. Please. Goodbye, Suazanne. Next one. before finish this video, I think practice the thing I just mentioned. It helps you to remember more. But now we add a mesh here and go to edit mode. Now we should do something. And I want to make a dice. Choose subdivide. But I don't think it's because the next one it will be too many faces. I don't want it. It's 8. So it has 64 faces here. I don't want so many faces. So another way is press Ctrl+R. Now you see we didn't click the mouse, but we just hover our mouse on the face. And now we have a line here, which means it will divide your face into 2 faces. And I want 5 faces. Right. So left click and left click. Next one, Ctrl+R again. Oh, sorry. Here again, Ctrl+R. And yeah, press left again. And if you didn't click, then in this orange outliners, and move around. Or press right click, then it will go back to the original position. Okay, here, try again. I will just left click. And now I want to make a dice point. So I go back to, I press 3, back to decimal, and I press a new thing, I insert the face. And if you didn't have the same fact as me, like me, you should have individual. For example, if I want to insert back here, if I didn't click boundary, this one I will mention in the future. If I press individual, then it will insert a face in each little face. Just need to understand. So if you cancel this thing by accident, don't worry, you can press F9 to recall the last step again. But remember, just the one last step, not the 2 last steps. 4. Okay. Very fast. 1. Very fast. Oh, see, I don't want this. I want to become individual. Alright. Well done. I say well done to myself. So press Shift and select all 4 points. Back, Shift, back, select, very fast. Right, well done. And now I want to my point go curve to the mesh. So I click, selecting all the inner faces. Alright. Now we are select all of them. Selecting. Now press right click. Choose Look Fast. And now we have cross here. And press 1, go back to the text. And we can choose the text in the center. What we want to do? Yeah, I should choose 1 first. I want this one go deeper. So press G, D. Okay. Now it's the fact I want. G, C. Oh, press G, C. Right. G, what? G, X. G, X. G, what? Great. And now we want to add some colors on our die. What should we do? Go back to Object Mode. Not. Come to the material. Yeah. It comes here. Add new material. Remember, we just do this last time. White. Add SP. Go to the best second. What I want to do. Now we should go to random or material. You can see what happened. Now we have all white on the dice. So I will create a new material. Right. Alright. Press A, select remove, sign. Remember, this bar only shows in edit. Now choose other side. Want to make them become white. Right. Now we choose a white. Press sign. Now we finish the dice. Oh, and I should mention, maybe we can change the edge here by pressing Alt and left click, and we'll have the all lines here, and Shift. Then open string. So pressing Shift and Alt and left click, and it will show you the all lines here. Shift Alt left click, Shift left. What do I want to do? See. Okay. Now can bevel our edge. In the edit mode, only in edit mode, then the shortcut will have effect. So Ctrl B. Now we have some weird dies. Or I don't want one. Very weird. Alright. I will choose all the lines here. And this one. Okay. Very weird. But now we understand what's bevel. What's bevel? So if we want to move this here, Control bevel again. Now this time, scroll up our middle mouse, then it becomes smoother. So what does that mean? Just like can go back to object mode. Run. B, then see it didn't have any effect in object mode. So go to edit B, So if we scroll down, then it will decrease the bevel amount. You can change the shapes or make it smoother. Now, sharper, smoother, right? And go back to object mode, and you want to shade smooth, and you will see this one is smoother. Another thing you can do is click this object, go to the object data properties and choose normals, auto smooth. Then it will give you better sharp edges and better smooth faces. What does that mean? What does the angles mean? Which means it only smooths the things between 0 to 30 degrees. For example, why this edge is sharp is because it's 90 degrees. Does that make sense? We will do more hard surface modeling in the future. You will understand more. Just remember, BEVEL can also be found modifier mode. Yeah. So let's practice another one. For example, I just want to go to edit mode. Just want to bevel here. Yeah. And now press Ctrl+B. And it's time. Go back to object mode. You can have the sand effect. Yeah. And don't be panicked. You see so many modifiers here. We'll only use few things here. And the most useful thing is bevel-boolean. Just in case. We just make a hole on the cube. That's boolean. Okay, so bevel. Now, choose segment. Should have any. Oh. So we add a bevel here. Now you see have some effects. And if you increase the segments here, then you will become smoother. Just move. And come. Almost. We'll see more difference in the picture. Okay, just the thing I use here. Okay. The last thing I want to do is make a animation. Let's put that. Right. Now, you see, and add some plan here. I will add Europe. Camera. Oh, I did it. Now, press Shift and wave symbol. Why does my camera is this shape different from yours? That's because you can change here, question, and you can reset to default value. Alright, now I want to add some basic properties to its size by using body 2. So we just turn off the rigid body and make sure the type is active. Now, explain body active 2. Press play. Oh, done. Or we can, yeah, nice one. Right. Okay, stop. And if you want to render the animation, you can press F12, but it will take you some time. Depends on your graphics card. And cycles really take more time, so you can press E. I will always use TV, and you can render animation. And yeah, friends running. I think cycles take maybe 3 times of the time. So the image will automatically save to the files we just showed you in the preference. If you didn't remember, just go back to the video. Yeah. It's done. Nice. Okay, I'll start it. And since the render frame will stop in the numbers here, you can just manipulate it. Or you just want the image. I'll show here. And remember, if you want to save the image, click in. Alright, we are done today.